Good morning here in Gulf Shores, Alabama, at the Hangout Festival. I'm Valerie Milano, senior editor of the Hollywood Times, and I want to welcome this wonderful band that I have been graced to be able to be a part of listening to, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves.
I'm Doug. I'm the keyboard player.
I'm Tyler. I'm the drummer.
I'm Tom, and I do bass and vocals.
Wonderful. Thank you so much again for being with us today. And the name of the band is October Noir.
That's correct.
And
Oh,
yes,
and you
it
said
is.
it
We
right.
didn't say that yet.
Most people are like October Noir. They're not
Nope,
French.
I got it right. So, how was your experience performing at this year's Dark Force Festival?
It was incredible. Big crowd. They were very responsive, very receptive. Having Myke up there, we've known Myke for a few years, so having him being able to join us on this new song that we just released, it actually worked out very, very well. That's probably one of the highlights of my musical career through my times.
And
Yeah, I
Myke,
mean,
tell, before you finish, tell our audience who Myke is, because we know who he is, but they don't.
Yeah. Yeah, so Myke Hideous is from the band Empire Hideous. He was around back in the 90s. He was doing very well in the goth scene, and I know he spent some time as the lead singer for the Misfits for a while. Um, and then he kind of, I think by the end of it, he was dealing with a lot of health issues, and eventually he ended up retiring from music. But yeah, he's kind of an old school dude.
Okay. Doug, were you going to say something?
oh, I was just gonna say about Dark Force Fest. It's awesome going to a place where you can go literally anywhere in that hotel and find 10 people that are super creative. There's someone out there that's doing something awesome, no matter where you are. And that was just it felt like we were home. We were around kindred spirits.
Yeah, it was awesome. I think for all of us going into it, we kind of felt like quote unquote underdogs, maybe. Lower in, and we played on a Sunday. But I think the crowd response was, man, I haven't seen a crowd response like that in a long time, and I think we made a lot of new fans and definitely impressed a lot of people. And man, the plane rides were terrible, but it was awesome.
The plane
Easily
rides?
one of the Oh yeah, the travel back and forth, lugging all the equipment, but it was a hell of a time.
Great. Sounds like fun. Too bad I wasn't able to be there. And as Tom was saying, we heard that you guys got Myke Hideous to grace the stage after not performing since 2019. We're sad that he wasn't here with us today to talk and tell us his experience. How did you get him to be with you for that show?
So it was really funny. I think it was, I want to say back in 2022, maybe. No, it was 2020 when I first met him. So I was approached to play bass for a new project. I told him no. Eventually, it was called Momento Morti. Yeah, Morty. And I said no initially, and then I knew who Myke Hideous was already just from coming up in that kind of music scene. Um, but I ended up being able to meet the guy, and yeah, it was a real thing. He came on as a singer. I said, you know what? All right, we'll push it and see what we can do. And so I think we had maybe 3 or 4 tracks that were done, but this was actually one of them. But the recording was really, really bad, and we had to kind of undertake redoing the entire thing to get it where it is. So it's kind of been something that's been on the back burner for many years, and we decided, hey, this needs to be heard. Let's get it out there.
So you have a new single out.
Mhm.
Talk about that.
Yeah, it's The Ages with Myke Hideous. He's handling the primary vocals on that. That's the track that came from during that time when we were together doing the Momento Morti thing. Um, yeah, he was happy. I was happy. We ended up getting into the hands of Kfir from Evil Snell Studios to do the mix, and that came from the source from Maor Appelbaum, who was a big time mastering guy over in the LA scene. But he happened to reach out and said, "Hey, you got anything that you're working on that I can, get my hands on?" And it just happened to all coincide all at the same time. Um, but yeah, it's to me, it's this song is it grabs or something about it. I don't know. I'm not trying to sound like I'm tooting my own horn here, but it was just, man, I don't know. It's magical for me. So yeah, it's like, yeah, we gotta do it.
Okay, Doug and Tyler, talk about it a little bit. Where did y'all record?
Well,
Um,
we go ahead, Doug.
actually, I did not have a whole lot of involvement with this one, being that it came from a previous side project. Um, so yeah, I don't have too much that I can contribute with it. All I can say is I like the song. It
I'll tell the whole
was fun
story.
playing it live.
I'll tell the whole story. I had done an interview with Myke, um, maybe 2 years ago on a podcast, and I was really he and I had talked back and forth, and I was really listening to those songs that Tom had mentioned that they had recorded a long time ago, and the ages really stuck out to me. And me and Tom did a rough demo of that song 2 years ago, and we've had the track the entire time, a rough mix, and we've listened to it over and over. We wanted to put it on our last album. It just didn't fit. Uh, Tom can't sing it as good as Myke, and it's really that song is really Myke Hideous. That's his song. It is made for him. So finally, I think I badgered everybody enough. I was like, "We got to do this. We got to do this," and it just all the pieces fell together. Doing it at Dark Force, getting Myke to do it at the stars aligned for the photos, the video, everything, just perfect. Um, I've been listening to this song. We've been jamming a version of this song for a long time. So the final cut is just way more than I ever thought it would be.
Tom, or Tyler, can you tell us about your creative process on it and how it differs from the traditional rock and metal that we're used to?
Yeah, usually what I see in any bands that are starting out, or even the ones who are out there and that have been around and then they're doing their thing and they got a bigger name or following behind them. The biggest differences I noticed was usually your locals and your small time. They all try to have every member contribute to the writing process. Um, this kind of puts together a plethora of things. I know everybody wants to have that respect of, well, I did this part and I did that part, but I think they're missing the key, which is what these bigger bands kind of took note of, is you have very specific people who write and guide the direction of the material. Um, that allows it to be the glue, so it's more cohesive. I think I just tend to follow that path more. We have some things that come in and some things that we do that just get tossed out, whether it's me or any of the other guys. But yeah, I think it's smarter to be more hands-on with a vision and follow that vision together. I'm always big on like not having egos, and sticking to what serves the song and not the individual.
Yeah, and that works for us. All of us are multi-instrumentalists. All of us are going to contribute to any part of an arrangement. Uh, just whatever ideas come to the top of our heads. But we got a common filter in Tom. He knows what we need to sound like for things, and he keeps all of us in check.
Does the single feature any visuals?
Visuals as far as the artwork, or
Have you shot a video yet?
oh yes, 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 it does have a video. Yes, yeah. We actually shot it from crowd cell phone footage from Dark Force Fest. So while we performed it live, yeah, it was also, it's funny because we tend to run a little bit higher tempos when we play live, and just to keep a little bit more of the energy into it, because most of our stuff's very slower. But I think we had like a 15% increase on the song. So when it came time to sit down and edit the video, we actually had to dial it back 15% so it matched and stayed in sync. But yeah, it's a music video. It's basically all live footage of us performing.
Yeah, it's kind of like the reverse Primus effect, like Shake Hands with Beef. They had him recording it at a different tempo and then speeding it up, so it's ultra precise. We did it the opposite way, and it made it look a lot more ethereal.
Okay, love it. So I want to kind of go back to the beginning of October Noir a little bit. For those that are not familiar with the band, can you give us a little background?
Yeah, well, I basically kind of came together into the end of 2016, and it was kind of like my last hoorah to even attempt something in music. I've always played since my preteens, starting in my preteens. And then came from a band back in the early 2000s that just didn't do anything. But at any rate, I've always enjoyed music, so I was like, well, there was a particular band, Type O Negative, that had this sound and this genre to me that they had created, and I kind of looked at it from a standpoint of 80s hair metal, where you had, Led Zeppelin, and Led Zeppelin birthed off, Motley Crue and all these other things, but they were all kind of doing it. So I said, well, they're attacking a specific genre here. I said, well, is there a market for it? And that's kind of what I did. I sat down for the next 7 months and kind of recorded the first album, just as a test phase to see if anybody would even attach to it. And I didn't expect anything to come of it. I expected to sell everything after it was done and be done. But it went opposite. So
So do you reside in Pensacola?
yeah.
And where did you find your band members?
Initially, I had a friend of mine, Danny, he was on the drums, and he was with us for a while. There was some complications there, so we had to cut him loose. But just mutual friends that played instruments. So I kind of showed them what I was doing and working on, and asked them if they wanted to be a part of it. So yeah, it just kind of unfolded. We've been through that drummer, a guitar player, keyboard player, um, and then we ended up getting another keyboard player. And Doug, that's when Doug came in
Mm.
on guitars. He's been with us since then. That was the release of the second album, I believe, back in
Yeah,
2019.
yeah, back
Yep.
half of 2019.
Yep.
So
So
Doug, so Doug, you're in Pensacola as well?
Yeah, I'm in Tom's garage.
Okay.
he's my
I love it.
garage goblin.
I've lived with Tom for a while. We
Cool.
pool a lot of resources to do a lot of things that we need to get done for the band. So this is my home.
There it is. All right. And Tyler, where do you reside?
Yeah, I'm in Mobile, Alabama.
Nice. Well, as we
About an
talked,
hour.
cool. Yeah, it is. So as we talked about before we went on air, I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama, and so I have a fondness to the South, absolutely, and now obviously Los Angeles. So thank you. And then who are we missing here today
We're
from your
missing
band?
Trey, who
Trey. And what
yeah.
does Trey play? Oh,
So Trey's on guitar. So Doug was initially our guitar player,
oh yeah.
and we had the hardest time finding another keyboard player. Just nobody does it around here, I guess. But Doug has a background with piano and things like that. So he said, you know what, I really want to do this. Let me move to this. Guitar players are a dime a dozen. We'll find one. So that's where Trey comes into the mix.
Okay. Tell Trey we missed him today. Um, so can fans expect a full album and possible tour?
So right now we're kind of sporadic with touring. We have something going on every year. We try not to do too much on the extensive side just because of jobs and things that everybody's got to hold down, bills to pay for. So yes, it's sporadic. So don't miss it if we're in your area, and don't expect us to drive into your living room and set up shop either. Just make the drive, come see us. But as far as the albums go, we normally do them every 2 years. I think we're holding off this year. We're putting together our first vinyl release, which will be self-titled. Um, but it'll kind of feature the best of what we've done so far, just to go ahead and get into that market. So that's going to take precedence over any new album. We're still kind of riding high from our 2023 release, so we don't we want to milk that one for a little bit longer.
Sure. I don't blame you. Go ahead. Were you
Yeah.
going to say something, Doug?
Yeah, we are getting around to places further around from our local area. We're actually flying into gigs lately. The miracles of modern technology, we can actually get our stuff down into a suitcase. So, you'll have the opportunity to see us if you live in North America, but touring, we'll see.
Nice. So how did October Noir, where did the name come from? I know your last name, Tom, is, but
Yeah, it was for me the way the music was being conducted. I wanted something that painted the picture of the fall or autumn
Mm.
and Halloween and those kind of themes. Because we tackled more of the darker things, but also tackled the romance side of what we do lyrically or conduct the songs. But yeah, so noir was kind of the French word for black, so it actually translates to autumn black, but I wanted to just have a little bit of an elegant flair to it. So yeah, that's kind of how we mashed those up and combined it.
excellent. Well, I want to thank you guys for being with us today at
No,
Hollywood
thank you.
Times. And where can we find you? Where can your fans, our readers, and our viewers on our YouTube channel find each of you? Social media, maybe you want to give us your handles, your website name.
Yep. So Facebook is October Noir. I think it's / October Noir Music for the web addressing though. And then of course you got us on Instagram at October Noir. Our main website at www.octobernoir.com. But yeah, and then we're available on all streaming platforms, but all physical merchandise goes to the .com. So if you look at the CDs,
All of our personal Instagrams are first name of October Noir.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, okay. So each of your first and last. Well, our article is kind of already written. We'll be adding some of this interview to it as well as on our YouTube channel, which is the Hollywood Times Official. Our website is hollywoodtimes.net, and we'll be promoting you. So
Perfect. No, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for that.
Tyler, any last words?
Nope. I appreciate you having us on.
Okay. Well, like I said, my sister Darlene lives in Mobile, so I'm going to have you get in touch with her if and when y'all play around there. So I'm sure you will.
That'd be perfect.
That
I think
sounds
the
good.
closest we're going to be coming up is July 20th in Biloxi, Mississippi. So yeah,
Love
we'll
it.
be right around the corner.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks again for all your time, and
Yeah, thank you.
we'll continue to keep in touch.
All right. Thank you, Valerie.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you.